Warning, this video is intended for adult collectors. It contains plastic collectibles, questionable opinions, and someone who knows a lot about Japanese spandex. Incoming random review in 3, 2, 1.
Before we begin, thank you very much to I Think TJ Should Say Something Normal for once for joining the Patreon campaign. Hey, if you want me to say something normal, that is what your dollar buys you. But unfortunately, the normal ones are not the interesting ones that keep people's keeping the streak alive. So I do thank you for your contribution. Every little bit helps. Every little bit keeps the content coming, and all and all that fun stuff. But like, that's a weird one. Thank you once again for giving me weird non sequiturs to start off these videos with. So once again, we are talking YoloPark because my friends over there were kind enough to send me these model kits from Rise of the Beast. This is their AMK series, Advanced Model Kits. And I have been talking these up really big in my news roundups because they've looked fantastic from the moment we first saw them, and I've been super excited to get my hands on them. So thanks to them, and this is my full disclosure for YouTube purposes, these were provided by YoloPark for review. I thank them very much, but that doesn't stop me from being honest about a product. So we are going to go over these, and I'm going to let you know what you're in for when you're getting them. And one thing that I'm not going to mention right offhand is the price. I'm going to show you the toys first, and then I'm going to tell you the price once we get to the end. Trust me, it's going to be worth it. And even if you know the price, stay tuned. I'm going to do you one better. So we're going to start off with Bumblebee. Now, when you get these in hand, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, don't really expect anything overly complicated, okay? While these are called model kits, you're going to get something akin to this. So you see that schematic where everything's kind of broken up? Yeah, that's kind of as many parts as it comes in. It's about 20-25 pieces overall. Essentially, if you're used to model kits, you're building, like, let's say the second to last page of the kit that tells you how to put the full body of the figure together. And then all you're doing from there is some extra finishing details. So the kit is actually an unassembled action figure more than it is a model. That doesn't really account for what it is made of. I'll tell you, the joints are solid. There's no polycaps involved. So I'm assuming this thing is built to handle action figure tolerances. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have pre-built all the major engineering for you. So yeah, if you like the idea of building something, but you don't have, 5-6 hours to dedicate to putting piecemealing it together bit by bit, this gives you a building experience that you can be in and out of in like less than 15 minutes. So that said, look at what you get. All right, so let's get into the nuts and bolts of it. Bumblebee here is an impressive 7 inches, which is not bad. Most Bumblebees are on the smaller side of the deluxe scale, so 7 inches, not too bad for a Bumblebee, and he looks really, really nice here. Let me give you the tour of the toy. We will start in on the head, of course. You'll note I'm not doing face cam on this video because I don't want to take away focus on these things because they really are, like, really cool. So you've got a lot of sculpted detail going into this toy. Look at all the little nooks and crannies that they have sculpted Greeble into, trying to get him as close to screen accurate as possible. Take a look at all that. Look at all the little parts in the midsection on the elbows. Like, they went all out. The sharp lines and shells are all correct. Like, even the bottom of his feet are sculpted. Like, there's so much detail going on this figure, and that doesn't even get into things like the head sculpt. Look, that's a nice Bumblebee. That's a really, really nice Bumblebee, and it's accomplishing something that I really appreciate, which is the painted blue eyes that look far more like his glowing blue eyes in the movie than, say, the translucent plastic Hasbro's obsessed with using. I hate light piping. It never looks good unless there's a halogen bulb next to their heads. Here, you get that bright blue without any added light. Looks very, very nice. So you can see the Camaro striping poking through his detail correct turn lights there. You've got the headlights painted in silver. Grill is done. Lots of things. Like the rims are painted. Everything's painted. Look, you got little silver trim on the armor there. You got it here in the front running all the way up the shin. You got little bits of paint detail on the hands, on the elbows. This thing is riddled with paint. Look at that. It's been a hot minute since I saw a Transformer figure that has been this heavily decoed. And keep in mind, they say model kit, but all of this is pre-painted. I thought I would have to paint these things up to make them look as good as they possibly could for the review, but no, absolutely not. These things knock it out of the park. It is a gorgeous paint job. Absolutely gorgeous. I also like how the door windows have this like very pale metallic blue to them that is different from the eyes, when they easily could have just used the same shades. This looks fine. I think this looks like a really nice approximation of a window. I don't need clear plastic for things like this. That looks good. I think that looks really good. I could have used the ability to split these the way they were in the movie, but we will keep in mind these were developed before the final designs of the movie were probably finalized, so they're going to look very close, but there's probably going to be a few little things here and there that aren't quite right. But still, man, look at this. Okay, so this is described as an action model kit, so we should show off the action of these things, because that's the cool part. So the head is ball jointed in 2 spots, at the torso and under the head. So you've got a lot more range of motion than you normally would have the standard Hasbro action figure. Let's see, shoulders, universal and butterflied. Butterfly on him doesn't reach very far, but if you want to, the torso armor can shift to start helping with some of those torso and like arm poses to kind of make it look more like his whole body is flexing when his arms bend. So yes, even the chest panels are articulated. Universal shoulders. This piece of armor is double hinged. So that will get out of the way of certain poses. Like if it's hitting on the tire, you can double hinge that out and extend his arm further. Lots of little things like that in these. All right, so let's see. Bicep is very tight on mine, but there is a rotation in the bicep, like so. The elbow is double jointed, lots of range in that. You've got the hand, which is ball jointed at the wrist, plenty of motion there. The torso does have full rocking. Love to see it. So you can ab crunch, you can put them to the side. Waist works all the way around. Thighs, check this out. Thighs, there's a hinge on those as well, so you can reach far more wide ranges of posability without this getting away, and it still has great posability even if you don't fold it out of the way. Check out the knee joint here. I'll show you the inside of this knee to get this right. Check that out. 4 hinges going on here to make sure that kneecap stays in the right spot. That's complex. I love that. And then we get to the foot, which rocks side to side, front and back. Panel that opens up to give the toe room to bend upward as well, or to just get the foot to bend further forward. Tons of articulation. Absolutely love how this came out. Now beyond that, you do get swappable hands. All of them do. They are just simple ball joints. Pop one off, pop one on. Simple as that. They're all still fully painted and look really, really nice. For Bumblebee, you are going to get, your basic assortment. You get the standard hands that are opened. You get these wide splayed hands, and then you get your standard fists. There is no arm cannon on the Bumblebee, oddly enough. That's a little bit strange on these kits. That weaponry is kind of thin. But there is an exception to that, and we will go to him next. Let's take a look at Optimus Primal. He's the beefy one of the whole set. So, I'm going to go ahead and go back to this. Oh yeah, he is towering over 8 inches, probably close to about 8.5 inches tall at the horns. He's looking fantastic. Am I right about that? Yeah, I'm right about that. All right. So here's the thing, I still haven't found mainline Primal anywhere in town. So this is the first time I've had a Primal toy that looked like he did in the movie. And it's a pretty good facsimile. Uh, Aside from a little bit of missing silver on the shoulders, I can't really see like what details would be missing. Now, obviously, I need a good look at him to say that, but he looks pretty good from here. So, taking a look at him, you'll notice right away his faceplate is open, like the original Optimus Primal. That is an optional face. Once we get into accessories, I will swap him out just to show you how it works. But for now, just know that, yeah, he has quite a bit extra going on. You see the Maximal logo stamped into his chest there. Tiny little green eyes that are molded color, not paint. We'll get to that in a bit. And yeah, just beefy all around. You see his rib cage. He's got this heavy metal look to him with all these exposed parts. Look at the back. Look at the spine. You know, like he looks like a machine that's like extended out to look more beefed up, almost like an animal that like ruffles itself and like hikes up its shoulders in order to look more intimidating. He's kind of got that going on in all of his aesthetic. You got the fur molded in from the beast mode, lots of panel details, and then yeah, the same level of just like extreme design work going on here to replicate how he looked in the model. And that's pretty nice. That is pretty nice all around. Really, really like it. Now, he's got the same flaws that the Primal's natural design has. Again, I could use a little bit more color, splash of blue from his original toy, but you know what? We're judging this based on how accurate it is to the movie. And like I said, outside of a few missing details that a painter could easily add in, I don't think he's missing much. He looks pretty good to me. So, we look at the articulation on this one real quick. Yeah, so pretty much the same story. Neck is ball jointed in 2 spots, gives him a very wide range of motion. The collar blocks a little bit of range, but it's not that bad. Any range it blocks is pretty much going to snap his neck. And I don't think you actually want that out of your Primal. The butterfly joint works a lot better on him, so he can get some more gorilla-esque and more primal poses. That's not an intentional pun. Shoulder armor is individually hinged, so it doesn't get in the way of the arms going out. Universal as well. Of course it is. Bicep rotation works really, really well. Elbows, once again, double jointed. Lots of range there. Forearms, in this case, are, again, on a double joint. You see that it's ball jointed there at the top. So this is pretty easy to hinge out and move around as needed. Once again, the wrist articulation is ball jointed, so you got lots of range going up and down as well as turning. Plenty of range there. Again, the torso, lots of range, back and forth, left and right. This one gets a really good ab crunch. Look at the range on that. Look at the range. That is great for getting your poses out. Thighs the same way. Hips are completely universal, so you got lots of range in there. You've got the knees again, which have a lot going on. You actually get this like faux piston here in the back that kind of looks like it's doing like hydraulic work when it works the knees. That's a completely unnecessary detail that's super cool, so that's appreciated. You also get the rock in the ankle, back and forth as well. You also get these little toes. Little toes are articulated in the bottom of the feet too, just in case you have like more dynamic poses you want to do. And yeah, and once again, like the toes here do hinge upward as well if you want to get that posability going. So Primal, like I said, is the one you want if you like accessory. So for Primal, the hands are just a little bit weird. So you are going to get a closed fist, but only one for the right hand. And then you're also going to get a pointy finger, which is again only for the right side. You do get 2 other hands, and those are for gripping his traditional swords, which are very, very well done. So you would ask, why only Primal? Well, I think I figured it out. It's because, unlike Bumblebee and Prime's arm cannons, Primal swords are one piece. So they don't really add much to the part count. They don't add anything to assembly. So you actually have the freedom to include those without really upping the budget at all. So that that kind of made sense to me. Also, I feel like he's kind of the one with the least paint detail going on, meaning he probably had a little bit more freedom in the budget to include something like this. I mean, it definitely adds to him. I can't deny that. He looks super cool holding his traditional blades. Oh, and by the way, speaking of traditional Optimus Primal, these blades can actually be combined at the center point with the blades going in the opposite direction, just as the original Primal toy could do. So that gets you a really, really cool look for your Optimus Primal. That's actually cool. There's one extra accessory. This one's going to be annoying. So, his head, like I mentioned, has a swappable face. Now, in order to get this, I actually have to take the cap of his head off, which thankfully I kept some fingernails uncut in order to actually accomplish this. Just kind of wedge it off back and forth until you can actually get the face off. Do your classic Revenge of the Fallen Prime and just like pull it off like so. I'm going to swap the other one on like that. If I can actually find the peg hole, there we go. And then the cap goes right back on where it was before. Trying to get it around his little horns. There we go. And that's going to give your Primal a movie-accurate faceplate. I like that they gave the option. There's not the only movie toy that had like a mouth through the faceplate, so this might be a leftover detail from pre-production that just kind of made it into some of the toys, because he didn't have a mouth in the movie. So I'm assuming that was the case, but still, it's great that it has the toy. So if you want accessory options, Primal's definitely the one to go with. Aside from the crazy amount of articulation, the swords and the faceplate make him, just a little bit above the others as far as play value goes. But we need to finish this off in style. When we first looked at these as a box opening, the one I showed you was Optimus Prime. So now we have to talk about the leader of the Autobots himself, and man, he still looks fantastic. I think he looks the best of the bunch, not only because he has multiple colors going on, but also because he's got a higher range of detail needed in order to correctly depict him in action figure form. Take a look at the head sculpt. Look at the tech greeble going on. Look at how detailed the face mask and the crest are. That's a lot of tiny detail going into him. Look at all the little rivets and things on the sides of the head. There's so much going on here. Top of the chest, tons of detail there too. All the little bits, all the little greeble. It's so good. There's so much engineering going on just to get the look of the character correct. There's very few details here that I see missing, if any. Yeah, it looks so nice. Yeah, highly detailed. Highly detailed, very well painted all the way across the board. Everything on this thing looks fantastic. You can take a look at the back. The back side's painted too. You've got this gunmetal gray on the back of the thighs for inner like robot parts. Silver there on the back of the shins. Look at the spinal detail. All that going up the center. All that gunmetal painted on to match the midsection. It's so much. It's so much. Like, absolutely incredible job from the YoloPark people to get so much detail sculpting and paint to work together. It's really impressive. Really impressive. Let me take a look, and we'll go into articulation at this point, because at this point you kind of know what to expect on these things after the first two. Torso, jointed at the neck, as well as a ball joint at the top. Tons of range between the two, so Prime has very expressive head posing. Shoulders, once again, we are talking about things that get out of the way so you can pose him in more extreme directions. All that hinges, and that outer part hinges all on its own, so you have full range in the shoulder. Forward motion too, of course, and the butterfly joint all work really well. Bicep swivel works great. This little piece also hinged, so that gets out of the way of the elbow. The elbow only hits 90 degrees on your Prime. Just a little bit. Oh, wait. Joint was stiff. Yeah, all right. So Prime does get beyond the 90 on the elbow. Wrist, exact same ball joint, so same range of motion there. He's got the torso rocking, so you got plenty of ab crunch, plenty of left and right motion too. Waist rotation works well. All 4 of these pelvis panels are hinged, so all of them can get out of the way in order to get more range out of his hips. Of course, the hips themselves are also universally jointed. They are very tight on mine, so he holds his stance pretty well. Look at the little tiny gold detail. Didn't even notice that the first time through. Look at that tiny little detail going on. You got the knees. Great amount of bending there. Great amount of articulation at the knee. And then here at the feet, up and down, left and right. Toes tilt. Man, a massive, massive level of articulation in these things. Absolutely fantastic. Like, you have to go to like super expensive stuff to get higher levels of articulation out of Transformer characters. So the fact that these are readily available in these kits is pretty astonishing. For Prime, you do get 4 additional hands. So, see, you do get 2 splayed out hands, which you see here. You get a double finger pointing hand, so he can start throwing speeches at people. And then you get this hand, which seems to be sculpted like it's supposed to be holding a rifle, right? Complete with a trigger finger ready to go. This is a little bit confusing because, of course, he doesn't come with a weapon accessory, so this might be like, I don't know, possible indication of a deluxe release down the line that has his weapon accessories. Best guess I have, but it's at least interesting. So there's plenty of primes out there that you can throw a gun in there if you absolutely need it. For me, I don't need my Optimus Primes to look like they're about to go into battle any moment now. Like, if I just wanted to have like a really good representation of Optimus Prime from Rise of the Beast, yeah, I don't mind missing out on a gun because this is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Now, let's get some comparison out of the way here. So here is Core Series Optimus Prime. Far, far smaller. Now, yes, this one, of course, transforms. However, the colors are a little bit brighter than they are in the movie. He's lacking a ton of paint. He doesn't have nearly the sculpted level of detail. So, again, if you want transforming experience, you know where to go. If you want something that represents the character from the movie really well, you've got an option here with the YoloPark models. And here's the thing that gets me the most. I haven't told you the price yet, so let me clue you in here. $35 retail, $30. This big guy, this heavy amount of paint, heavy amount of articulation is $10 cheaper, than this one. Sorry, I nodded his head a little too hard on that one. But yeah, talk about bang for your buck. Now, most places I've seen online will actually offer this figure about $37, and that's usually in a pre-order, and I can see that. Like, I actually see the value of that in that price. However, to get it for $30, you got to buy it directly from YoloPark, and this is where I will do you one better. If you use the code TJOmega at checkout when you buy them off of YoloPark, you're going to get 5% off on top of that. So now we're talking under $30, close to $10 less than you can find them elsewhere online. Talk about bang for your buck. The crazy amount of paint and detail that went into these, the level of articulation that really isn't being matched by anything else even remotely close to this price point. Like, that's pretty incredible to me. Like, I am genuinely really surprised at the quality of these toys and these items for the price that they go for. This is probably like some of the best like bang for your buck I have had in a long, long time. And you can tell I am not hyperbolizing this because I got the product sent to me for review. I genuinely mean this. Like, you can see in just what you get out of them. They're phenomenal for the price. And I'm genuinely thrilled with them. I'm hoping they do more, because, like, I would love to have just a cast from the movie based off of this design philosophy and based on this affordability. So there you go. That's the AMK model line from YoloPark. Fantastic set of figures with a lot of really surprising elements to them. I'm very happy that YoloPark gave me the opportunity to talk about these for you guys, because they are genuinely some of the most impressive Transformer products I've seen in a long, long while. So, thank you guys for joining me. Remember, if you want them for yourself, the link is in the description below. Use my code at checkout to get them for under $30 each. And please, enjoy. You should have a good time with these. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time.
We're gonna have to get your names for the books. You, Pale One.
William Current.
Roll me a deception check.
I thought their name was Pain.
Roll a disadvantage.
Okay.
That was like the opposite of the help action there. You, Goblin.
First name D's.
Watch your tongue.